All right, guys, so I'm back with another video in my rustic cabin building series. You saw my first two videos. I showed you how I was able to pick up logs without any equipment other than the A-frame that I built and a chain hoist, of course my van and my wagon. But so far I've been able to get 34 logs from the property. So this is going to be an amazing start on my project. So I'll let you take a look at the logs I've been able to gather so far. Really nice looking logs, 34 in total so far. Well, that's 34 I've been able to actually get back to the house, and I've got some more over here that are ready to go on the mill. Got 5 more over here, and I'm actually going to start cutting tonight. I was going to show, I wanted to put on camera the reason why it's important once you get pine logs on the ground, why you have to start cutting them within a week or two. Pine borer beetles, I guess that's what they are. That's what I call them. I usually call them wood munchers. Um, as soon as the log hits the ground, like it's like a magnetic attraction to them or something, these little wood munchers come from wherever they come from, and they start attacking the logs. And you can actually hear them munching on the wood. Right now it's about 5 o'clock or so. It's a little bit hot. They calm down when it gets too hot, but then in the evening, nighttime especially, they'll crank back up. So I'll try to get that on audio for you, but it's pretty cool actually to listen. Not cool to deal with, because if you allow the logs to sit too long, the munchers just get deeper and deeper into the logs. And then when you cut them, even when you cut the four sides and square up the log, you'll still have wood munchers inside the log. And I've actually built some things out of wood that I left on the ground too long. And inside the house, you hear the wood munchers doing their thing. They're kind of hard to get out once they get started. You can see a little bit here, these little wood piles where they've been munching. If you look at the log really closely, you see little tiny holes. But yeah, they get in there pretty fast. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting tonight. See if I can get 3 or 4 cut maybe. I don't want to rush it. I haven't done a whole lot of sawing this summer, so I'm a little bit out of shape. You have to bend over a lot, bend over, pick up slabs, roll the logs, that kind of thing. So it can be kind of hard on the back, at least till you get conditioned to do it, and I don't want to overdo it. So let me get set up and I'll show you how I am able to cut the logs. Real quick, before I fire up the mill, I'll just show you a few of the simple tools that I'll be using to do this. So I've got this contraption here, which is called a cant hook. It provides incredible leverage, so you can roll over logs that you normally couldn't even hardly move. I use the spray bottle filled with water, a little dish soap, and a little pine saw. It's used to cool the blade, which you'll see goes at a pretty high speed, a lot of friction, so keeps the blade somewhat cool and from gumming up a little bit, keeps it clean. Just a 9/16 ratchet wrench so I can change. So this blade guide here, if it's a really big log, has to be loosened, and you have to drift it over this way a little bit to accommodate the larger log. If it's a smaller log, you have to push it in, squeeze it in, so the blade doesn't have too much movement to it. Relatively flat. A chainsaw, in this case I'm going to use electric saw, battery saw, which is pretty handy, so I don't have to fire up the saw. Sometimes you've got I miss them sometimes, depending on where it falls on the mill, you got to trim some of the where the branches grow from the log, and the little nubs you got to cut back a little bit. All right, guys, so we're going to go ahead and get this first log rolled over. This is a pretty good sized log. My sawmill is called a Hud-Son Oscar 18 inch, meaning it'll handle about an 18-inch log. This log's got a kind of a flare on the butt end here, which makes it kind of difficult sometimes. But we'll get it figured out here real quick. So let's see, this can hook just makes life so much easier. Just roll it up there pretty easily. You can use it as a lever to get the log where you need it. But there's this thing that I just flipped up. These are called dogs, log dogs. No offense to any dog people out there. So they have screw adjusters on them. I guess I could have showed you. Don't really need them. You got enough pressure on the log. But we'll leave it on there for now. So at this point, I'm gonna push the log over against that dog. Put it back here actually. And screw this one a little bit. And all this does is trying to get the log sitting here under tension. And hold it in place. Alright, so that's the first cut. Let's go ahead and raise the blade up so I can pull it back. Dogs. So what I'm really trying to get is at the very least, a 6x6 at each log. I like building with 6x6s. Some logs have a lot more in them than 6x6s. Just kind of figured out as a cut. But at a minimum, I should be able to get a 6x6 out of each log. Normally I don't wear shorts when I'm doing this. I try to use my leg squared up on the back side. At this point, got an eyeball back in. I'll go ahead and show you what I'm looking at on the back side of the log. So, got these guides right here. Hold the log in place, but also help keep it square. See here, this makes really good firewood for outdoor campsites. Not so much for in the house because there's so much sap in the wood still. It lends to building up creosote in the wood flue if you're in the house. But outside, really good firewood for a backyard campfire. So if anybody out there lives near me and you want some free firewood, let me know. I even cut it into smaller sections for you. I really shouldn't be using a hammer on those dogs because it does bend them a little bit. Makes it a little bit faster. And, well, they've lasted for 20 years doing it that way. So at this point, I'm probably not going to stop. So now, I'm looking at about 8 inches on my low cut. So what I can do now, kind of make a business decision. Do I want to cut it off at 8? Remember, what I'm ultimately trying to get is a 6x6, but I haven't started building yet. And I haven't even taken time to draw up any plans. I just know that I'm going to need a lot of 6x6s for this project, so that's what I'm going for. But at the same time, I don't want to waste too much. My biggest objective is to get the slabs off the side squared up into what's called a cant. That's the square, extra large rectangle. Mostly just to keep the bugs from destroying it. So if I can get a 8x8 out of it, I'll probably leave it as an 8x8 and then cut it down later, because that means I can get a 2x8 and then a 2x6 out of it if I leave it the way it is. I could go ahead and cut it now, but honestly, I just don't want to take time to stack the lumber. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this, one of my favorite tools, the broken draw knife. Had this for about 20 years, broke the handle off, but it's still my favorite draw knife. What I'm going to do is cut this bark off the edge, because believe it or not, if I leave that there, the wood munchers will attack it and they will start feasting. But it does come off real easy. There you go. The power of leverage. One of the really, really beneficial things I learned when I was in school. There you go. So at this point, I have a nearly perfect 8x8. On the back side, it was a little bit shy. Need a little bit meat on the log, a little bit more meat on the log, you can see. However, I mentioned when I cut it down to a 6x6 later, that'll be all removed. I'm debating right now whether I should cut it off now or just leave it. I think I'll just leave it for now. I will go ahead and get the draw knife out and get that bark off of there, because I mentioned before, if I don't get it off now, I'll be feeding the little beast.